Hello everyone, my name's Misbah. Welcome back to another video. So in the first part of today's video, I'm going to share 5 tips for getting more plants for your garden for less money. So let's get started. So tip number 1 is to split your perennials. This is best done in springtime, and plants such as lilies or iris and these magnificent crocusima, you can actually thin them out and it rejuvenates the plant, so less of the plants are competing for the nutrients. I've just pulled one out to show you, so you can see that's the bulb there, and then when you replant it, you actually cut it up to here and replant in another part of the garden. And this is a really easy way of increasing the number of plants that you have for free. So tip 2 is to swap cuttings. So this is a cutting taken by a friend of mine. She's grown this plant up for me, and in return I've taken a cutting of a camellia. So let me just show you how small my cutting is, but I'm actually getting new growth there, so I'm hoping that will grow into a camellia plant. So the best time to do this is in summer. Take a branch of new growth, remove all the leaves at the bottom, just leave a couple of leaves at the top, put them into a pot with compost and keep them on a windowsill, and then you will grow a new plant. So tip 3 is to check out the reduced price or the bargain section in the garden centre. This orange tree would have been very expensive at full price, but I saw it in the reduced section and I thought for just a couple of pounds it was worth taking a risk. I brought it home, repotted it with new compost. I've given it lots of fertiliser and feed, and I'm getting new growth and tiny little oranges. So it was worth taking a gamble for just a couple of pounds. So tip number 4 is to learn how to overwinter your plants. So a few years ago I bought a dahlia plant, and when the frost turned it all black, I dug out the corm or the bulb, dried it, wrapped it in newspaper and kept it in the garage over the winter. Then I replanted it in a pot, and when it started to grow I planted it out in the garden, and this is the resulting plant. So each year now I get even better blooms, so there's no need to go out and buy new dahlia plants as long as you know how to overwinter them. And I'll show you some other plants that I also keep in the garage over the winter. So this is one of my tropical plants. This one's an insete, and it will not survive if the temperature falls below 50 degrees. So in the winter I cut the leaves right down, so I've just got the stump at the bottom. I take it into the garage and I overwinter it. I wrap it in newspaper, keep it dry and overwinter it, and then the following year it's back again looking as magnificent as ever. So my final tip is to grow plants from seeds. It's so cheap to actually buy the packets of seeds and easy to grow. The instructions are always on the back of the packet. It tells you how far apart to put the seeds, how far down to plant them. You can grow a tray of seeds on your windowsill. I grow them in the greenhouse, and it means that you are then more likely to experiment and try out new varieties because the seeds are so cheap. So I'm growing large beef tomatoes and smaller ones called Moneymaker. But this year I bought a packet of seeds and I've experimented by growing some black tomatoes as well. I'm going to take you inside the greenhouse now and finish off by showing you how the tomatoes are doing and how my cucumbers are coming along as well. So that's a look at the tomato plants and the cucumber plants. And what I've noticed this year is that I've grown some in fabric bags and they've actually dried out less and need less watering than the traditional terracotta pots. So the fabric bags have been a success. So thank you for watching the first part of my video, and I'll see you for the second part. So in the second part of my video, I'm going to share a recipe for Granita. It comes from Sicily and it's a little bit like a slush. So it's semi-frozen, it's flakes of ice, and you can either drink it or eat it with a spoon. It's really simple to make. I'll be using 3 ingredients. So mine is going to be a lime Granita. In Sicily, it was lemon Granita because of the wonderful Sicilian lemons, but I found limes and I love the flavour of those, so that's what I'll be using. You start first of all by making a simple syrup. This is equal amounts of sugar and water, and then you heat the water so that all the sugar dissolves into it. So I'm going to do it over the stove, but you can do it in the microwave by heating it for 10 seconds. So I'm going to make a start. I'm using 1 cup of sugar and then the equal amount of water, and then I'm going to go to the stove to heat it up. So gently heat the sugar and the water until all the sugar dissolves. Don't let the syrup boil, and then leave it to cool. So while my simple syrup is cooling down, I'm getting the zest of 4 limes. I want about 2 teaspoons of zest, and you get that from the green part of the lime. Don't include the white part because it's quite bitter. Now to my zest, I'm going to add the juice of 4 of the limes. So this is the zest and juice of 4 limes here, and then this is my simple syrup. So it's clear because the sugar has all dissolved and it's just a very simple sugar syrup. So I'm going to mix those 2 together. And at this stage, it's your own personal preference. If you want it sweeter or if you want to have it more limey, you make that judgment call. So what I do now is I'll pour this into a glass dish, And then for me, that's the right consistency. But if it's too sharp for you, then add some water or add some more sugar syrup. So you need to work that out, but that's the consistency that I like. So this now goes into the freezer, and then after half an hour, you will take it out and it will be slightly frozen, and then with a fork you break up the ice and then put it back in the freezer for another half an hour. And then you keep doing this until you've actually made the granita, made the slush. So let's put it in the freezer. Okay, so let's put the liquid into the freezer. And we'll come back in half an hour. So it's been half an hour. Let's have a look. So you can see that it is actually beginning to freeze. And what I'm going to do now is with a fork, I'm going to break up the slush so that where it's frozen, I'm actually breaking all that up. And I'm doing this because I want it to have flakes of ice. Okay, so I'm going to come back in another half an hour and then do it again. So it's made, and in my freezer it took 2 hours, and I had to break it up 3 times. But everyone's freezer is different, so you just have to try every half an hour. Now if you forget and it turns into a block of ice, you can then still get back to a slush by mixing it in the blender. So it's crystals of ice, and at the bottom it's a liquid, so it's a little bit like a drink and a dessert together. So that's a really delicious lime flavour, but I've also seen it made with strawberries, so you just blend them and then mix that in with the syrup. I've seen strawberries, and I'm going to try and make my next one with a pineapple. So I hope you try the recipe and you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching my video today, and I'll see you next time.